Yes, people, Real Life Wealth Creation are back. And today is going to be amazing. Why is it going to be amazing? Because we're going to be talking about women creating freedom through property. So let's get this baby on the road. 5. We're going to hit it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let me invite these amazing people to share the screen. I'm not sharing the stage, but we're sharing the screen with these amazing people. Vicky.
Hello.
Andy, great to have you on, guys.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Absolute pleasure. I am very interested, and I'm sure many people are as well who are watching this, wherever they are watching this, to just see what is it might be overused term, but like the secret sauce, or what is the ingredients? This is better. What is the ingredients that are required for anybody, but also specifically women in this case, to create freedom in property? Because let's face it, there is still this kind of stereotypical view of men and women out there, and who can succeed and how far someone's success can go. So hey, look, that might be very controversial for some people, but let's get right into it. I mean, so first of all, just give us a little bit about yourselves.
All right. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Thanks. You go first.
All right. So my name is Bérangère, so I'm French. Vicky and I are partner in life and business. So we started the property business around 2 years ago. About myself specifically, I'm a geologist as a background. Used to work in the oil and gas industry for 6 years. Then got a sabbatical year, get redundant. Yes, that was really the best news that ever happened. And then back to university. So I'm currently doing a master in wine to study viticulture and enology. And at the same time, we're doing the property investment. So that's about myself.
And I'm Vicky. So I am in a corporate job, so in the oil and gas industry as well. So I've been in my job, or at least in the company, for 12 years now. So I'm still there today, so still working full-time for them. And yeah, we started the property business about 2 years ago, and I've been running that alongside working full-time and traveling quite a lot as well.
Massively.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good. Thank you. So we want to know what got you into property. But if you can answer the question of what got you into property combined with what was happening in your life for you to like be even open for a different way of operating, a different avenue. So like, what's happening in your life, and what then was the kind of the point where it's like, okay, property is going to be a vehicle for us?
Yeah, so at the time, I think around the time that it happened originally, we were both living in France. So I was living in Paris, so I was there with my job. I lived there for 5 years in total. That's where we met as well. So I was living there at the time. B was in Montpellier. She was in Montpellier, which is in the south of France. Because of the job that she was doing, she had to go back to Montpellier, basically. So I was living in Paris, she was living in Montpellier, and we were spending like a couple of years traveling a lot back and forth.
My niece thought my home was a train. So she was 3 years old at the time. And when my parents or my sister was asking her, where do I live? She was like, oh, but you live on the train. And that's when we realized that was wrong.
Yeah.
Like there's something wrong.
We spent all the time based on this train. It's like 3.5 hour journey on the train. So we're just doing that all weekend. And we just thought, this is crazy. Let's just live together. So we tried to get Bérangère to come to Paris. But the job basically just refused it. They wouldn't allow that. And it's kind of when I realized that it's the job that's dictating our lives, essentially, where we live, how long we spend together. So that was really the moment. It was like, something has to change. It can't be like this. And property, really, it was actually a friend of mine at work. I've been interested in property for a long time, Homes Under the Hammer. Grand Designs. We watched that last night. So, and it was a friend of mine while I was living in Paris. She said, "Oh, have you heard of this? There's a workshop about Rich Dad Poor Dad." Never heard of it. Never heard of the book.
Yeah.
She was like, "Yeah, it's really good. It's really great." And I was kind of like, "Okay." I signed up to the kind of evening. It was a free 2-hour session. And I think before I went, I bought the book and I read the book in about a day and a half. I just engulfed it, and it was the first time I thought, wow, this is something that is real and could really happen. And it all went from there. That was 2 years ago.
Awesome. Okay, good. So we're grateful to these people that advertise this alternate way of life and introduce it to people. So, okay, good. Excellent. So then what really made you want to go for it?
I think one thing, because it was invested in the UK, and it just so happened that after I went on this training and kind of signed up to like a 3-day program, I was getting transitioned back to the UK. So they were making redundancies basically in the company in France, and the company basically moved me back to the UK. So I thought, okay, this is actually the perfect time to do it, because all the trainings are based on investing in the UK. I'm moving back now. B decided to take a sabbatical so we could finally and live together in the UK.
Because again, the company couldn't find me a job there. So basically, for 6 years I was in this industry. Nothing was never aligned. Nothing never worked in my way, never. And as soon as I got this sabbatical, everything was aligned. And we finally moved back together in UK, and that's when it really started, really.
Yeah. So I started the trainings. B thought I was crazy.
Yeah. I really thought that was crazy.
I was like, oh my God, I've done this training, this is the best thing ever. And you were like, not sure. But you trusted me, so it's good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So when you started that, what were the good things that came from it in the beginning?
Yeah, it was really my journey started to personal development as well.
Yeah.
Before I even read this Rich Dad Poor Dad book, to be honest, I never read. I was like not a reader. I that's a little story I told myself, because I'd always read just boring books before, I think. And I read this book, and then when you go on the courses, people suggest other books and other things that we can read. And I was just eating
discovering another world, really.
Just really opened my eyes to a lot of things. I think I changed quite quickly during that period.
Yeah. Dramatically.
And I dragged B along.
Okay, good. So they were the good things. So what about either the challenges, the hurdles, the roadblocks? Like what came up for you?
I think the main challenge is to try to not be stopped by what we see around us, because the society doesn't really understand this. And if we don't, people put an image on you based on your job, not based on what you want to do. So if we say we want to quit, and when I took a sabbatical, for example, I had lots of people, my sister first, a lot of people were just like, are you crazy to leave a corporate job? You're well paid, it's safe, you can stay there for your entire life. And I'm like, yes, but no, I don't like it. And I think that's the main challenge, is really to overcome this, and also to trust ourselves, to be confident enough to actually do it. Because between wanting to do something and actually doing it, there's a massive gap, and it's not easy to overcome this. So I think that was a big challenge.
Yeah, I guess the challenge at the beginning as well was having the time to do it, because it was kind of...
Not sure there was a time.
I think having the support as well, though, at the very beginning, like the first year.
Yeah, we had the time. I think we didn't know how to put the pieces together to make it work. I think that was the difference. Our priority were not strong enough to make it work, because we didn't really know where we were going and how we will get there. So it wasn't clear enough, the path wasn't clear enough in order to actually do things, I think.
Okay, so just to summarize, you're saying that the pressure from society, who says that, hey, you should take the safe route, you should stay in your corporate journey, kind of social pressure around that, made it difficult for you to make the decisions? You're saying the time around, well, it wasn't the time because obviously everybody's got the same amount of time, but you're saying it was like, okay, what's the priority? What do I do with the time? Is this what we're saying?
Yeah, it's more than that. I mean, we've had to basically create the business during evenings and weekends for the last 2 years. Like that's how we've fitted it in, and we've kind of made priorities on that. But then it's just within that small period of time that we do have to work on the business. What are we focusing on? Because I think at the beginning we weren't focusing on the right things to be, get us to the goals that we want to achieve. It was kind of a lot of doing, but not much achieving.
Good. I think this is what people want to hear. So what problems and challenges did that bring up?
Yeah, I guess it was just not progressing
exactly
as fast.
You just feel that you plateau all the time. So you do things, but think that doesn't really matter, actually. I think it's also a technique to hide, to be fair. Because if you do this, you're not really playing the game. But if you don't play the game, you don't get to your outcome. So,
Yeah, there was a lot of hiding, I think, at the beginning. Hiding away from the hard things.
Yeah, but
not doing the things.
Why does that happen, do you think?
It's just fear, really. A fear of, and especially kind of once you do some trainings and stuff, you're kind of a little bit on your own after that. So in the early days, it was kind of just us to push ourselves.
Well, it was really you at first as well.
But then I was kind of pushing you and then you were getting annoyed.
I didn't like that. I needed to be convinced by someone else, but not by Vicky.
Yeah.
So it didn't really work. So we had a discussion at one point being like, okay, this has to stop because we're not going anywhere if we continue to work like this together. I want to be your partner and I want to work as a team and not being told what I need to do or being kind of forced. So I read the same book as Vicky. I tried to get myself into it on my own, going on my own and other events and stuff. And I was like, yes, I agree with you. What you're doing is right. I'm with you on this. But I just needed to make my own idea and not just being pulled.
Pushed.
Yeah. Okay, good. Hey, listen, I think this is gold because it's like, okay, there are all the bells and whistles and the exciting things, and it's a journey to freedom, and property is a safe investment because people are always going to need a place to live. But then you've got to think about all of these things that you guys are talking about. So thank you for bringing it to the attention of the people, because you've got to think about this. So just on the basis of that so far, what advice do you have for people who may be experiencing similar or the same kind of challenges and roadblocks, just on the area that we spoke about so far?
Yeah, I would say I think it's super important to have like a community of people around you, and have support.
It's essential.
But also to have a kind of a vision on where you want to go and have kind of clear goals. What strategy. We found super useful was having like an independent person, so having like an independent coach. So it wasn't like me telling B to do stuff or her telling me to do stuff, because you also let each other off because it's like someone's tired or you've had a hard week. So it's having someone external that really pushes us towards the actions that we need to do, not necessarily want to do. But
it's basically this person is also stopping us from messing around, really, because when you look at something from an external point of view, you see what's wrong and what's good, and you can point it out. If you're on your own on your little things, you don't see it because you're too focused on your little things that actually don't go anywhere. So that's super important to have this external vision and people, helping us, being around, surrounding by people who believe in us. I think it's very important just to see that it works, really.
Yeah. Because you'll get challenges. I mean, challenges are always going to come.
Yeah.
And I think we're better equipped now to deal with challenges than we were even 6 months ago.
We're a bit less in a panic mode now.
Yeah. It's kind of just being able to deal with it. It's really important.
Okay. So how much, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much, 10 being the most, how much do you think having a vision has to play with getting through it?
I think it's 10.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think
because if you don't really know why you're doing it,
or where you want to go,
you're just going to kind of keep coasting around. But you have to be extremely focused,
because let's be honest, this is hard. It's not fun. Like we live in Brighton, which is amazing. There's always something going on in the weekends. how many weekends do we spend in Brighton?
Yeah.
We actually had to set a goal to be like, we will spend at least a weekend per month in Brighton. If not, we don't do it enough, because it's hard. So if you don't know why you're doing it, there's no way you're going to, drive 4 hours to Birmingham every weekend. It doesn't work.
Okay, good. So what helps you be so focused on your vision? What tools or strategies are you using, have you used, so we can share this with other people so they can jump on it too?
I think the goal setting was a big one.
Yeah, still need to make progress on this.
Yeah, but I think the goal setting really helped us focus, especially when we were like trying to raise investor funds and stuff like that. Having a specific goal and also being kept accountable. I think before, only in the last 6 months have we really been accountable or had like people around us keeping us accountable for the things we say, because to do it alone, it's really difficult. And even hard. When you're in a couple, in a two, you're not as hard on each other as you need to be, or you should be, in order to get the things done, because there's things you don't want to do. Like, I don't want to make that awkward phone call. I don't want to have to sort this stuff out with the builders, but you've got to do it as part of the business. But having a strong reason and also saying, I know it was hard, but I did it, which means I can do other things that are challenging.
It's very rewarding as well when you overcome this. Sometimes it's big wins. So it's really good.
Good, excellent. So we had a question. So based on this vision and how powerful and the part it plays, where do you see yourself, or what is your vision for 5 years' time?
Well, mine is, I don't know if it's still going together. We'll work out this later. But for me, it's really traveling. I really want to travel a lot, experience different culture with people, see how they live, how we can help. And I'm really passionate about Africa, especially Ethiopia. And I'd like to do something there to help. And if I could combine the wine as well, because they're growing grapes now in Ethiopia as well, going through an education program with kids, teenager, and really help them and telling them that, school is good, but it's not just school in life. You can be rubbish at school, but have a brilliant life, and you can be top of the class at school and don't achieve anything later. So it doesn't mean anything. You just have to what I want to do is just to open the eyes, either through games or whatever. But really, traveling, I think it's a big thing for me.
Yeah, so mine's it's slightly different. My big one is traveling as well. I think we've not done it so much the last 2 years because our focus has been different. But traveling for me is a big one. I'm really interested in working with charities. So within the next 5 years, I want to be working closely with charities in the housing aspect, but also in, like B said, just opening up people's eyes. Some people may have had a bad childhood growing up or faced challenges that weren't necessarily their fault. And just to help them really just grow and open the eyes, like my eyes have been open the last couple of years, into just what's possible.
Gives them some fun, because sometimes there's no fun some places.
Awesome.
And a house in the south of France.
In 5 years' time,
home.
we'll have a holiday house in south of France with our own stuff, and that will be just our little cocoon, just ours. Yeah.
Good. And it's great to see that you are following the goal setting methodology, because other people are asking, how did you set your goals? So both of you are answering the question, is where you see yourself in 5 years' time, as an experience. So I'm glad you are, because that is the most powerful part of goal setting, which everybody outside of Real Life Tribe, because everyone's on the goal setting module, we would usually make that mistake and just come up with, 5 years time, I'm going to have this car, this much money, this house, or whatever it is. But like to talk like it as an experience is brilliant, and it's music to my ears when you do that. But if you was to have some advice for people out there who are already in the tribe and have access to the goal setting, for people outside the tribe, on like what's been the key for you around goal setting, or what advice are you going to give around goal setting that's really helped you pave your way forward in this property journey?
The goal setting is kind of a funny one, because at first I hated it, because I was uncomfortable with it. It's really weird, because at first you put a lot of I used to put a bit of how do you say stuff, technical stuff like a car, house, or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not really what you want. If you have a car but you can't see nice things or experience like a race or anything, it's no point to have a nice car. I'd rather walk, you know. So that's the thing. So I think the difficult thing with goal setting is really to be able to write things. And I told myself 100 times, that's why do I writing this? It's a bit bizarre, but at the end it works. And I'm still struggling today to write my goals over 10 years. I just can't do it. I don't know what to put. It's just a blank page. I'm struggling with this. I'm working on this, but I know that the more I do it, the more it will come.
Yeah, I think that's the recommendation that I would give, is just first start doing it. Yeah. Like Bea said, it is kind of weird at the beginning, but once you get used to it and you keep doing it, I mean, every day, I mean, we're getting better now at doing it every day. And they do evolve as well. So the ones that I was writing at the very beginning, like they've changed slightly now to be more experience based and not just, I want to get this much money, I want to do this, I want to do that, but to have these things, these experiences that I want to experience this. Yeah. So in order to experience that, what do I need to do today, tomorrow, next week to move forward to that goal? So I think it's really important to do it every day. Yeah.
But also something that was pretty funny that happened to me last week actually is I completely let it go, and I caught myself writing something that I never thought about. So it was a bit like a shock as well. I was like, oh, actually, yeah, well, what I just wrote sounds good. So that was pretty funny.
Good. Well, so just to summarize, what I've taken from that is even if it's clunky in the beginning, you got to keep going because you get better at it. And from you, Vicky, you were saying that you got to be prepared for it to change and evolve. And I think you got to stick in it long enough for that to happen, for it to really get to what it is that you truly want. Because based on feedback, I think most people, what they start writing down is not really what it is they want, and it does change. And it does change. And that's the funny thing, because we love change, but we don't love change. So I think that could be the part that does make it a little bit clunky. So were there any other challenges as you've moved through your property journey towards the success, which we're going to talk about because everyone wants to hear about that too? But was there any more challenges or things that, you know, worse, you're on the brink of maybe, you know, quitting, thinking, is this really what you want to do? Share some stories around that.
Any specific ones? I think it's all around the mindset, really, and having those moments where, you know, you're exhausted from working on your day job, or you've been traveling for the whole week and not seeing your house. Like I was traveling a lot the last 2 years, like 50 flights per year or something for 2 years. So constantly staying in hotels, different flights, 7 flights sometimes in like 1 week. And you just don't know where you are. So at some point you just like, and then you have to start doing all this business analysis, finding deals, looking at the numbers, and you just think, is it worth it? Like it's like hard, but then you have to reconnect to why you're doing it. And we do have a strong reason why we're doing it. So that's the thing that keeps us going.
I think, Mark wants some specific things. I think a specific one is that we live in Brighton, we invest in Birmingham. So that's the first challenge we have, is that every time we go, we have to drive minimum 3 hours because it's bloody M25. But yeah, it's minimum 3 hours when it's a good day, but it could be 4 hours. So that's the first thing, that we need to stay somewhere. And then not everything is open. So Vicky has to take actually lots of holidays for the business, just because on Monday more things happens than on Saturday. So yeah, that's another challenge. Another one that's just for me, it's not for Vicky, is I'm French and we invest in Birmingham. Birmingham accent and French accent, they're not friends.
That's quite a big challenge.
That was, sincerely, that was a huge challenge, because when we were going to see agents and view houses, they didn't look at me even. They were just talking to you all the time. If I wanted to make viewings on the phone, they just didn't say anything, just, hang off basically the phone. And I was like, Vicky, can you just call them because they're this house? She would call them. In 10 minutes, she would have 3 viewings. And I was like, oh. So for me, this was very challenging because I really wanted to give up. At one point, I'm like, you know what? I'm not talking anymore when we go in there. You just do it. I follow. And I did that a bit. And I don't know why, 2 months later, it was a lot better. But that was a big challenge.
I think we decided as well that because I then started doing the calls and stuff like that. And I think as you met them face to face and built like a connection with them, it was fine after.
Kind of. It was better.
Like it was better. And then you got more confident as well. So it was kind of, rather than me constantly doing it, it was kind of you still did it. It's just that you got,
It's just that I didn't give up after. I was like, you know what? I'm here.
I'm French.
That's how I speak. That's how you speak. We'll have to make it work, because if not, there's nothing for you and nothing for me. So that was a huge challenge.
That was a big challenge.
Yeah. And I know from going through your journey with you that there was a point where the time, like you said before, the priorities was a big stumbling block of like, how do we pave our way forward, our freedom in property, if we are not really getting the results in the time that we have available? What was it? What was the turning point, or what changed for you that has now taken you onto this path of success that you're on?
So I think it's been, I think it was up to 6 months ago when we joined you guys, basically. Before we were doing stuff, like we were doing a lot of stuff, but we just weren't getting any results. Like we were doing things, it was like, we're doing stuff. Like, why don't we have more deals? We haven't raised much investor funds, like
because we never asked. We never asked.
So
before.
we were hiding basically, and we didn't really have accountability at all. And when we joined you guys, it really changed everything, to be honest.
But I think a turning point as well is me being more involved, because at the beginning, that was, to be honest, that was mainly Vicky doing it, because I wasn't really on board, because I felt I couldn't get on board. That was hard. And then I was like, okay, I'm in this with you, and it changed everything, really.
But that was really only in the last 6.
Yeah, that was pretty recent.
Months, though.
Yeah, because I wasn't confident. I was putting barrier in front of me for nothing. So as soon as those were gone, I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so working together and having the accountability, being part of the Real Life Tribe. Okay, great turning point. So now tell us, what have you gone on to do? Where people want to be inspired after, and they want to know what to look forward to when they start having difficulties and the time challenges and all these things that are thrown their way, what they have to look forward to. So inspire us. Don't be modest. Like, you tell us, what is it you guys are doing now? What is it you're achieving?
Yeah, so we've got, so I guess in the last, so we bought our first property, it was just almost a year ago now. So that was the first property we bought. So in the last, I would say in the last 3 months alone, that property's finished and fully rented.
Yes, because just to say, this property could have been the end of the journey because it was very challenging, very, very challenging. So we could have stopped our journey at least 5 times just on this one because it was challenging. But at the end, we made it.
Yeah, so just being focused, I think, on that. So that's all completed. That's fully rented. So we're doing social housing strategy there as well, which is something important to us to do. We've just completed on 6-bed HMO on Saturday.
Yes, that's a good one.
So that's really amazing. Good. That's for professional tenants. So it basically gives us 11 rooms. We've got an 8-bed that's going through planning at the moment. We've got a 7-bed that is a charity project that is really exciting. That we've also maybe found it. We're not sure yet, but that's an awesome project that could hopefully happen in the next quarter. So it kind of, all of those projects together, it takes us to like 26 rooms.
Good job.
But again, the 6-bed we just completed on. This is again working as a team because this property has been sourced for us by lovely members from the tribe as well, I don't know if can we say the names or not.
Stacey and Greg.
Stacey and Carly. So I mean, that's thanks to them, really. Without them, that would have been difficult for us to have this house. So working as a team, being open of receiving help and ask people, and not just things you can do everything by your own. I think it's
for the results, because we had a big challenge like raising finance.
Yeah.
We kind of weren't really confident to do it at the beginning, but I mean, since joining the tribe and also in the goal settings, things like that, we've raised over 200k of investor finance to fund some of the deals we've got.
Mm.
So that for us was a massive win. That happened in the space of about 6 weeks, because of our coach, because of the goal settings, the focus. That all literally happened in 6 weeks, which I never would have even believed was possible.
And the investors
before.
were really happy. I mean, they feel they're part of the team.
They are part of the team,
and they are, because without them, there's no deal. So I think as soon as we had this in mind, I think we've always been very teamwork oriented anyway. But it's so important to us to treat everyone around us as part of the team. It is so important. If not, there's no point really to do it.
Good, excellent. Hey, listen, so this has been totally amazing. And before you go, I want you to give some inspiration to the people. So first of all, what's your answer to this question? And that is, if there are people out there that just have a feeling inside that there is more to life, and they might be wanting to get into property, or they think there's something about property that might help them along their journey, even if it's just part of their wealth moving forward, what advice would you have to those people that are just wanting to get into property?
I would say go for it. That was exactly where I was 2 years ago. It's exactly how I felt. And I would say definitely go on the one day with the real life, because it will blow your mind. I wish I had that 2 years ago, that event. Go along, just be curious, have your eyes open. I think there's a lot of skeptical people out there. I
was skeptical at first, and what helped me was to do different events as well. So try different events, so you meet different people, different communities, and you see that it's not just one tribe that's like this or one community, but actually there's a lot of them everywhere. And it helps as well to understand the process, because it's not explained the same way. So depending on how you work, I think it's very important to stay open-minded and to do this. It's really good.
Yeah, and I would say just keep an open mind and just go for it. If you're thinking that it should be something for you, don't listen to what anyone else tells you should do. Just go for it. Go to the one-day event, see what it's about, get information, and then you decide for yourself.
But
you won't be disappointed.
Talk to people at the one-day event. Talk to everyone you see, and don't be afraid to ask questions. And just have a conversation.
Always ask questions.
Always ask questions.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the next set of people, what advice would you give to them? Maybe who people have already invested in themselves, invested in some education, but they're not getting results as fast as they wished. They're not, or they've hit a stumbling block, or they found a really difficult period where they might not feel they're moving forward. What advice would you give to these people so they don't give up, and give them something to look forward to?
Get coached.
I would say coaching and mentoring really helps. Like I went through the training program. I started in a different program 2 years ago. You get a lot of information, like it's like education. You get a lot of information,
it's like university,
but when you come back home and you're on your own, it's hard to get through all those challenges without really having people to bounce ideas off, being accountable. So I would say get in the community that helps each other.
An active community.
Because that really changed everything for us, for me particularly, was to be in this community that helps you, that pushes you, keeps you accountable, is positive. They're doing great things. People are doing amazing stuff. So just to see them, what they're achieving and following in their footsteps, that's really the key, because information on its own means nothing. You can go on Google and Google most of the stuff that you need to do, but unless you implement it and have support, you will be stagnant. You may do a few projects, but you're not going to get to where you really want to be.
Yeah. And I think the definition of a coach as well, a coach has to, you really have to get the connection you have with the coach and the call you have has to be pretty often. Like the frequency has to be pretty high, because if it's once every 6 weeks, there's no point. In 6 weeks' time, you can completely forget, and then you have to come back again, and you lose the momentum. I think it's crucial to keep accountable in a short time period as well. That's key for me. That was really key.
I think that was for us the momentum.
Yeah.
Since 6 months when we started doing
stuff
real life coaching and mentoring, the momentum has just taken us, and just so many things have happened in the last 3 months, really.
Yeah.
Compared to the last 2 years, because you've got that momentum, because you've started something and you've got that momentum, you've got the people to help carry you through it, rather than just constantly starting and stopping, which is what I was doing before, really.
Well, something that has changed massively for me before is like I was forcing myself to do something for the business every day, and now I can't see one day when I don't do one thing for the business. And I've realized this recently. It's like there's always little things that I can do, and sometimes I'm like, all right, I need to stop doing this because I have other things to do, and it's really hard to stop. So that's funny, because it's going the other way around now.
Hey, listen, that is totally amazing advice. You guys are inspirational. I think you're on such a path to success now that maybe you forgot about some of the challenges you had, because I know we've spoken before and there's been many. But hey, look, your general advice is you got to stick in there. You got to keep around positive people. You got to do goal setting. You got to have a clear vision. And once you do that, you will figure it out. Do something every day for your business, and always remember why you're doing it. I mean, that's a pretty what I've taken from it. So thank you so much. Great reminder on stuff, and a great new information that I can take on board. And that's why I love, being around awesome people like you guys. So thank you so much for being on here.
Thanks for inviting us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Listen, you've added so much value to people in the Real Life Tribe already. And anybody new watching this, I know you're going to have added value to them, or at least given them a piece of inspiration for a new spark, maybe for a new direction in their life. So I'm going to catch up with you very shortly.
Yeah.
But for you guys watching, wherever it is that you're watching, I just have something for you. So for you guys, listen. If you are looking to get into property, then you're seeing this now for a reason, and this is your chance. Reach out to people in the tribe, speak to them if that's more comfortable for you. Or if you want to go for it, value your time so much, we don't just go for information. We give you information, but the real goal for that day is transformation, because that's the difference between you just learning something and thinking that's cool, and real change in your life and real development. So listen, if that's what you're looking for, then you need to get there. There are many more things that we're doing. There's many more programs that we have. But hey, look, just start with this. Just reach out, ask questions, and you will receive. Some of the most successful people, some people are doing multi-million-pound deals in this tribe now, were the ones that reached out. Just ask the question in the beginning, and that started their journey and the momentum. So for you guys that are new to us, thank you for trusting. Thank you for being here. For our loyal tribe members who are also on here, you're amazing. Thank you for your love and support. And thank you for affecting so many people's lives and spreading this message and living this mission. So listen, you've got to remember, do the right thing for the right reason. Never give up. Trust in yourself to just be yourself. So everyone here, thank you very much. We'll see you next time.